and welcome to another episode of Roettgen Braai Master. Today we're going to talk about something that is very close to my heart. You know, you have a great barbecue, you've bought some very good produce, you've bought some fantastic meat, and then you're going to start cooking and you realize, my knives are dull. So what do? So today's episode is all about how to get those knives nice and sharp and how to maintain them the proper way. Alright, this is all we need for today's episode. I have a selection of different knife sharpeners here, from a very traditional, just a sharpening steel over a Mino sharp, and then the latest product, a Horel 1993, and I'm going to show you how to use them all and explain to you a little bit about the differences and the ease of usage. Now, in addition, I've brought some knives, you know, some regular cooking knives in various sizes, and to show you how to use them accordingly. Alright, let's start off with the traditional sharpening steel. You know, I guess you've seen that at your parents, you probably have one yourself at home. Most butchers use it, and it is really a universal tool. Anybody can use it. However, the problem is the majority of these knives have an angle on the edge of about 15 degrees. Now, I don't know about you, but I definitely have a hard time deciding what is 15 degrees when I actually sharpen my knives. So if you're using this quite frequently and you have a lot of experience, then that's probably not a big issue. But for me, that is really not the greatest tool ever. Now let's come to the second one, this Mino sharp. The Mino sharp in here, as you can see, has two different ceramic stones. They are at an angle, and it has this plastic cover where there's slits inside, so you can only move your knife one way through it, and you always keep the same angle. Now, very important, you have to actually wet these stones prior, so there's a little bit of a like a water pan inside. You pour the water into it, you close it, you wait a little bit for the stone to soak up that water, and then what you do is you take that knife, and it has some numbers here. So there's number 1 here and number 2 here, and you go through the number 1 slot, just like this, backwards and forwards, 10 to 15 times, and then you do the same thing with the number 2 slot as well. And then obviously you clean your knife afterwards. Now there's quite a bit of friction when you use that, and you really have to make sure that there's enough water in it to cool down those stones. Now, what I've experienced over the last couple of years using this, it is great at the beginning, and I really enjoyed it, and my knives got reasonably sharp. However, I have to admit that after a while, you know, you do get different angles into it, and the angle of your blade, like the cutting edge, isn't as precise as it used to be, right? So I think, you know, for your everyday use, that's absolutely fine. Now let's come to kind of like the pro when it comes to it, and I really love this. I've only recently got it, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's the Horel 1993. Now with the Horel 1993, you get this roller, so to speak, and it has a diamond encrusted side on this side, and it has a stainless steel side on this side. And what you do is it sits on these rubber hoses, so to speak, and you can move it backwards and forwards. Now it also comes with this little handy wooden piece, and there's very heavy magnets on there on both sides, and there's a little lip or an edge here. So if you have a smaller knife, you just place it on here, and it elevates the knife a little bit. You place it down, and with the diamond side, you just go along the edge of your knife, and it keeps that 15-degree angle perfectly every single time. So it's really foolproof to use. So you go across it a number of times, then you turn it around, and you just use that stainless steel side like 2 or 3 times to get rid of all the shavings that came off. And I have to admit, there's quite a bit that comes off initially when you put the correct angle on your knife. However, then to maintain it, you don't have to go across it so many times. Just to do the other side as well, you clip it on exactly the other way, and do the same thing for the other side of the blade. Now this was obviously for a smaller knife, but I just wanted to show you how versatile this is, because on the other side you don't actually have that lip, you only have the magnets, so you can take one of your big cooking knives as well. Just be a bit careful, because it can scratch your knives a little bit as well if you take it off the wrong way or if you move it around too much. But as you can tell, you know, it works for big knives and it works for small knives the same. Now the best way, if you lift it up and you part it just like that, you avoid scratching the knife surface. And then you do it the other way around as well. And it really works for every knife that I have in my kitchen. And yesterday I've spent a good hour sharpening all my knives. And you know, obviously initially when you have to train, they call it, you train your knife to accept that perfect angle of stability and sharpness, which is roughly 15 degrees. It really works with this particular sharpener. Yeah, so that's a little excursion into how I keep my knives sharp. You know, because I think it's nothing worse than if you take, for example, a tomato or any other produce and you start cutting into it and you're more tearing than actually cutting. Now, as a final bit of advice, and you know, obviously which one you use is entirely up to you. I personally obviously now favor this one just because it makes it so much easier. However, if you do already own this one, you know, you can stick with it. There's one with actually 3 wheels as well to give that the even finer grading. Or if you have one of those and you say, well, you know what, I've learned how to use it, totally fine. So I'm not trying to push you in one direction or another. Now with knives, in the end, it is very important, you know, don't put them in the dishwasher. One big no-no. The second one is rinse it immediately after use with warm water. And dry it immediately as well. You don't want those nasty wet spots on there. And also, if you can, hang them on the wall on with a magnet or something along those lines. Don't put them in a drawer where they rub against each other and get dull again and scratched. Yeah, and just make sure that, you know, you maintain them, because, you know, a good knife is really your best friend, and it just helps you create those great, that great food in the end, and you will have fun with it. Alright everybody, that's the educational part done for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I would appreciate a thumbs up and a comment. Obviously I'm going to put the links of all these products into the description as usual. And yeah, if you enjoyed that video, please hit that subscribe button for more great videos to come. And I hope to see you soon again at Roettgen Braai Master.